Hi Terras, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Kimberly.
And this is Terra Australis. So, clearly that's not Teresa. We have a guest today. Me and Teresa will be recording next week, so we'll have a regular episode out with some, I was going to say fun, new topics. It's never fun. No. What we cover is never fun. But some interesting cases, that's for sure. I'm researching some right now that I can't wait to tell you guys about. But this week, I am going to be covering John Wayne Glover, and Kimberly is just here for the ride.
Woohoo.
So,
I don't think it's going to be a fun one.
It is not.
But
it is not.
I'm here.
So you can just react to this awful human being.
Awesome.
I'm going to give a spoiler alert. He is not alive. So that's good. Not that we wouldn't trash talk him if he was alive. It would still be the same.
Yeah.
But, just a quick spoiler. He is dead.
He is deceased.
This is an Australian case. He is not Australian, but this happened in Australia, so Australian case. I don't know if you've heard of it. He's also known as the Granny Killer.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
The Granny.
The Granny Killer. So you can see where this is going to be going. Right from the jump.
Awesome.
Yeah, are you ready?
Yeah, sounds like a lad.
I guess we'll get into it then. I'm just going to add some quick trigger warnings, and I'll try to also add them in before I talk about the really heinous stuff as well. But I'm just going to add some trigger warnings. There's going to be graphic details of violence, sexual assault, and suicide in this case. So if any of those things trigger you, maybe skip this episode.
Good thinking.
Yeah. So we haven't posted in quite a few months. We've been taking a fairly long break, which I'll discuss in more detail on an episode with Teresa anyway. But getting back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's find out about the Granny Killer.
Yeah. I've actually recorded this with Teresa before, and the audio quality was really bad, so we never posted it. So that's why I'm now recording it with you, because she already knows it, so it wouldn't be as fun telling her. And I'm going to be honest, it's been that long.
Quotations fun.
Yeah. I do fun. It's been quite a while since I've looked at these notes, so honestly, I'm just going to be learning along with you.
Yeah.
Really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, John Wayne Glover was born on the 26th of November in 1932 in Wolverhampton in the UK.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh no.
He was born into a working class family and had a difficult relationship with the older women in his life, especially his mother, Freda. So we can see where this complex is coming from already.
Yeah.
He didn't really have an easy childhood, but a lot of people don't, and they don't do this. But he lashed out often as a kid. He was arrested in 1947 for stealing clothes and handbags at just 15 years old.
Oh man.
He left school at 14 and served in the British Army, but was discharged after they found out about his crimes. So while he was in the military, he was doing crime things, and they found out, and they were like, "You cannot do that."
In the military.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yes. So that kind of goes against their standard practices.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah. He then immigrated to Australia in 1956 at just 24 years old, and he had no qualifications and 30 shillings to his name.
Dude, all of this stuff, so he got kicked out of the military, right? Mm-hmm. I'm 24 in July.
Mm-hmm. And he's been through the military, has a criminal record, has now immigrated to another country.
God,
yeah. What are you doing?
I wake up with cravings for potato gems at 6 o'clock in the morning,
You gotta up your game.
Oh my gosh.
You can get some more things under your belt.
Alright, welcome to Australia, you criminal.
So, he had no qualifications and 30 shillings to his name, and
That's rough.
Do you know how much 30 shillings is? Because I translated it, if you'd like to know.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it converts to roughly £35 or 60-ish Australian dollars today.
Yeah, no, that's
And
still rough.
also, a little tidbit, the website that I used said you couldn't even buy any horses, cows, wool, or wheat with that amount. So what can you get? Not even a goat. What are you doing?
Not even a goat, man.
Not even a goat.
Emotional damage.
So here's $60. Still more than I have this week.
Honestly, yeah.
But he's trying to like make his way in Australia. He has nothing. And he has no qualifications or anything either.
Yeah, that's rough.
All he has is a criminal history. So he's doing great. He's doing so good. It really didn't take long for him to start committing crimes over here either, and he was convicted of theft in New South Wales and a larceny charge in Victoria, which is also theft. It's just fancy theft.
Fancy
Yeah.
theft.
He had further legal trouble in Melbourne in 1962 after being convicted on 2 counts of assault, 2 counts of indecent assault, 1 count of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and another 4 counts of larceny.
Oh my god. Stop.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. In each of the assaults, he, trigger warning, violently and repeatedly beat his victims over the head, forced them to the ground, and removed their clothes. And a lot of experts say that if he'd been interrupted during these attacks, like if he hadn't been interrupted during these attacks, this probably would have been his first murders.
Yeah.
But they weren't. His second assault victim, a 25-year-old woman, was attacked on her way home from a meeting. He left her bleeding and alone on the front lawn of a home where the residents had heard her screaming and called the police while Glover ran off. The woman told police she saw a man following her, so she tried to run. He caught up with her and hit her over the head, knocking her unconscious.
Poor lady.
And she woke up, this is horrific, to find that her underwear had been, like, clawed at. Yeah.
Ugh.
So he probably would have, for sure, would have also
Yeah.
raped her if he hadn't been interrupted. Witnesses in the area said they saw a young man running from the scene into a nearby yard. At this point, Glover was 29 years old and living in Camberwell.
Yeah.
It's probably not. It's probably not right.
Camberwell.
Camberwell, a suburb of Melbourne, anyway.
Yeah.
In Victoria.
Yeah.
He was also working as a television rigger for the ABC. Fun fact.
ABC, what you doing?
Yeah. So he was
Oh,
only
God.
29 at this point, and this is what he's doing with his life. Yeah.
Surely my life's got to progress somewhat a little better than
I think that you're as long as you're not doing any of the things that he's doing.
Yeah, I think
I think that you're okay.
I think once I may have stolen a lolly from my Foodland back when I was like 7.
You criminal.
I know, I felt so bad, and I still feel so bad. Like, it was a wrap lolly. Like, remember when they used to have, like,
Yeah.
the things where you used to, like, shovel
Like the scoops?
your lollies? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that, and they were wrapped. It was, like, one of the ones with, like, little fruit on it thing.
Yes.
And one of those was sitting on top. They're terrible
They are.
lollies.
They're not good.
They're not good lollies. And I picked it up, and I was like, a lolly. And I put it in my pocket. And I felt so bad that I think next time we went, I returned it. Just put it back on top again.
My little brother got
I was like,
caught
7,
doing
leave me
that.
alone. I was like, dude, no one's going to miss one piece of, like, 5-cent candy. Come on.
Did you at least enjoy the candy?
I took a bag.
Oh, you did?
I didn't eat it because I felt guilty. It was a lolly, but I took a
You're
bag.
precious.
I know.
That's precious.
I still feel bad.
Well,
I did watch my friend steal something once, and I was like, oh, girl, why? But she took a tester. I'm not going to say where it was because, like, don't come for me. But yeah, we were at the shops, and there was, like, you know how they have, like, the bowls of just makeup products that are, like, damaged?
yes.
Yeah, she took a tester. She didn't even take the one that was new in a box. Like, out of the box. She took the tester. I'm like, girl, why would you take the tester?
What were you?
It was just like a lipstick or something.
But
I was like,
don't take anything.
I don't take anything.
This is just a PSA. Don't steal, guys.
Steal.
Don't thief.
But like, if you don't take the tester, you could get worse than COVID. Come on, man.
That is very gross. Testers in general are just so
So
unsanitary.
yucky. That's so yucky. But yeah, there was literally a brand new one. I said to her afterwards, I'm like, look, I do not agree with what you did. But come on, man.
That's gross.
Sidetrack, sorry.
Oh.
But a lolly, delicious.
Anyway.
When
he was questioned about this attack. And when the police questioned him, he told them the reason for the attacks was that he was angry following an argument with his girlfriend at the time. Because that's such a valid reason to
look, go on a
beat
walk, take a
and
few breaths, go
assault
for a
someone.
swim,
Yeah,
read a book,
plenty of things. Listen to some music,
like
do some meditation,
go pick up pretty rocks,
have a
and
snack, you know?
Yeah.
Any of the above,
Have
but
some apple
don't
juice, man.
assault someone. Yeah. Have some apple
take
juice.
a chill pill. Have some apple juice.
Yes.
Whether it be adult apple juice or grape juice.
Don't assault people,
Don't
though.
assault people. Don't be a douchebag.
So that was his excuse. And after giving this excuse, he was released on bail that same night. Because that makes sense. Yes.
So I was just really, really
Good
mad, so I
police.
just had to go and like attack some other random person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's okay. Cool. Have a good night. See you later. Like,
Yeah, except that as he was walking out from the police station, he was confronted by two detectives looking into a similar attack.
Oh, no.
From a couple weeks earlier.
in a reverse card.
Yeah, they said, excuse me, sir.
Do you want to just turn around and walk back in,
Let's
please?
just go back inside real quick.
Do not pass go. Do not
yeah.
collect $100. Straight to jail.
He initially said he had no idea what they were talking about, but eventually confessed after extensive questioning by the detectives. His crimes went to trial, and he received 3 years probation.
Oh my god. Here, have some candy that you stole. Have it back and eat it.
They said 3 years good behaviour, sir. What do you mean?
There was none of the good behaviour to begin with, so why should he be like
3
yeah.
years probation, so not even
jail time.
Not even jail time.
What a load of
And there has been
poppies.
so many people who have said if he wasn't interrupted during these attacks,
He would have finished
killed
them off, yeah.
It was he would have
Yeah.
tried to kill them. But they were like 3 years probation sounds about right. That sounds good.
I think that sounds like...
Spoiler alert, it was not.
Wow, what makes you
Was
say that?
not.
Was
Yes.
not it.
Yeah, so he was given pretty much just like a slap on the wrist, figuratively speaking. He managed to stay under the radar. Radar?
The radio.
He managed to keep under the radar for 3 years before 1965 when he was arrested for trespassing while watching women through their windows.
Come on, buddy.
'Cause he is
There are websites that you can watch that stuff on.
Gross.
Come on.
gross.
You don't need to actually trespass on someone's property. Just
No, he's disgusting. And he was given a 3-month sentence but was released after serving only 6 weeks.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, so there's going to be a pattern of this where he just gets
What's his
away.
name? John.
John.
Look, man.
It's John Wayne Glover, but similar to John Wayne Gacy, who also got away with everything.
Look, John's the world. Stop it. Just stop.
John Wayne's.
John Wayne? Wasn't he like the...
John Wayne Gacy was the killer
Gacy.
clown
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
who had bodies in his crawl space. John Wayne Glover is the Australian granny killer. Do
And
you
then
see
John
that?
Wayne is the guy that's on the horse and
Yeah.
like all the old...
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He also made some choices that were...
It's John Wayne's.
John Wayne's, man.
It's-
John Wayne's of the world. Chill.
It's the people with the 2 first names.
Have some apple juice.
Apple juice.
Apple juice is
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Sipping my apple juice now.
Actual apple juice, by the way. She's
Yeah, I'd have...
not adult apple juice. She's
Actual apple juice.
Actual apple juice.
I got Rachel to go and buy me some.
Yes, because I am
You're the best.
good like that.
Yeah.
He took a break from crime after this.
Ah!
just a little hiatus.
That's nice of him.
Just a little one.
Oh.
Yeah, and he went on to find a job at a shop selling wine and spirits, which I don't know how that
Apple juice?
Apple juice. Adult apple juice.
Adult apple juice.
I don't know how that differs from like just a bottle shop, but it's apparent. I think it's just like a fancier bottle shop.
Right.
Because I
Boutique.
actually did like spend an annoyingly long time searching on whether this was just a bottle shop, because they said he worked at a shop selling wine and spirits, and I was like, a bottle though? No, fancy.
A sip and
fancy
save.
one. Yeah, like, exactly. Dan Murphy.
Dan Murphy.
You will.
Uncle Dan's.
Only in Australia.
Uncle Danny, don't sue us, please. We love you. You are my church.
Anyway, in inner city Melbourne, he was here that he met a woman named Jacqueline Gale Rolls, or Gay to her friends. He also became a volunteer, get this, at the Senior Citizen Society.
No! No! No!
Yes! Yes.
John, stop.
Yes. Yes, at the Senior Citizen Society. And he was considered by his friends and family to be a trustworthy man.
Did they know about his past?
No, they were like, what?
What past? Who's that?
What?
Who's he? Can be him.
They ended up getting married in 1968. Yeah. So they moved in together, got married with the blessing of her parents. All that, all good. Didn't take long for Essie to start having concerns about him, because mamas know. Mums always know.
Mum's the best.
And she'd started to tell her daughter that she felt he was hiding something. Because at that point, they didn't know about like his past or anything like that. They didn't know about his criminal record or anything like that. So he got like this fresh start, started working this new job, fell in love with this woman, married her. So they didn't know anything about his past, and now his mother-in-law is like, I think there's something shady about you, because mums always know. Anyway, these feelings pretty much only got worse when the pair moved to Mossman, a suburb of Sydney, in 1970 to live with Essie and John. And now Mossman, I was looking up real estate in Mossman in Sydney, like, as of recently, and there is like very little properties under like the millions.
Really?
Yeah, it is a fancy neighborhood.
What is it?
Mossman. Yeah, I will put it in.
We're looking it up because like I want to see fancies. Wow. Oh God.
So most of these properties, for reference, are huge, and they are private auctions.
Oh, that goes upwards more. Holy day, I thought it was just like that, but like that goes up the hill.
It is very expensive. It is a very...
Look at that.
Yeah. So, for reference, it is a very upscale neighborhood.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
He moved in there.
They moved in with her parents. So her parents were quite well off, and they moved in.
Oh, so it would have been something like that, kind of like 70s vibes.
Yes,
that
big.
But big, yeah.
Yes,
I mean that's huge.
So they moved in with Essie and John as a couple to sort of like start caring for them, because obviously they were her elderly parents. Yeah. So at this time, John was quite sick, and the couple were asked to help with his care. Gay and Glover were very happy with the move and didn't mind helping at all, probably because it was... Especially seeing as they were now living in a very high-class suburb.
No kidding.
Yes. And get this, a new wing was built into the 2-story house. It's already a 2-story house. Her parents built an entire new wing for them to live in at the home.
Oh my God.
So that they could care for John. And they soon had 2 daughters together. Kelly was born in 1971 and Marnie in 1973. And the only thing getting in the way of Glover's perfect life was his mother-in-law.
Oh no. No.
John Rolls passed away in 1981, and the tensions in the house got far worse. Yeah, he was sort of like he put like a bit of a damper between John and his mother-in-law, and then you know it.
So I'm looking at houses from like the 70s in...
Yeah, they were really cool.
Yeah.
1982. Glover's mother migrated to Australia unannounced, and we all know he has some mummy issues. She expected to move in with her son in Mossman. And by this time, Freda had been through 4 marriages and a string of other boyfriends. Most of them while she was still with her husband at the time. But she suggested that she could be good company to Essie. She said to Glover, hey, son, we have a strange relationship. I'm going to move over there without any prior warning, and I can move in with you. And then me and Essie, we can become best friends, and it's going to be such a fun time. Oh my God,
we can have, like,
now,
pillow parties and, like...
Yes. Yeah. Except that Glover quite literally couldn't think of anything worse, because the only thing that he hated more than his mother-in-law was his mother.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, he was also terrified that if Freda moved in with them, she'd tell his new family about his criminal past, which they didn't know about.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm. And would just confirm everything that Essie was already suspecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like,
he was
will you be sus? Mum
not.
comes over and Mum's like, hey, want to know some
Want to hear a story?
I got some tea for you.
I have some tales. Yeah, no.
Pull out the tea bags, pull out the sugar, because, girl, I got some tea.
Yeah, he was not having it. Absolutely not.
No.
So he managed to convince Freda to settle in Gosford on the New South Wales Central Coast. And it was here that she passed away from breast cancer in 1988. So he dodged that bullet. But he did not kill her.
He did not kill her.
Everybody thought that was where that was going, let's be honest. I thought that that's where that was going.
Yeah, I was like, oh, boy, don't do that too. Don't off your mum.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Poor lady, though. That's still terrible.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't the greatest mother, but she, cancer sucks. Cancer really sucks.
Yeah, we all have.
And then Essie Rolls passed away the same year in a nursing home in Mossman.
Oh, no.
So, they put her in a nursing home. How's that for...
Yeah, they're like, we're going to take care of it, but haha, kidding.
That's so shitty, though, because they were living in...
They were living in their mansion.
They had a new wing built for them.
The whole mansion.
And they were like, Mum, nursing home. Thanks.
Bye, Mum. Not just like, oh, well, you obviously have money, we'll get a carer in for you.
No,
just like,
they just straight up put her in a nursing home.
Oh, the nursing home probably is like the size of this room that we're in, and like, shove you in the corner and sit there until you die.
That really, I mean, that's kind of shady, just a little bit. I mean, I don't know what their situation is, but that kind of seems a little.
I mean, yeah, we don't know their age, but like
a little shady. Yeah, and you would think that now with the 2 people he hated most gone, Glover would keep his life on track. It would be smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, surely.
Great.
Surely.
He had a few speed bumps. But things are good now, right?
Yeah.
No. So he was unraveling because this short period that he'd spent with those 2 women back in his life had just obliterated his mental state. And he was just so unstable.
He's like, you know what? Rickety rockety trolley.
Yeah.
Hi, it's me.
Literally. So, here's where we get into his more intense crimes.
Alright.
And we're going to go victim by victim. Margaret Todd Hunter. On the 11th of January 1989, he noticed an elderly woman making her way down a quiet back street. After parking his car, checking no one was around, he approached 84-year-old Margaret Todd Hunter and punched her in the face.
Oh my God.
He just... Yeah.
Wham bam. A punch him in the face, man.
Yes. While she tried to recover, he snatched her bag and ran away. This isn't funny, I'm not laughing, but she yelled, "You rotten bugger," at him as he escaped, which she's just trying to live her damn life.
What? 85-year-old woman.
84,
like,
yeah.
I'm just
just making her way. Yeah. And he then used the $209 that he stole from her to go drink and gamble at the Mossman RSL, which is what he did.
So I hope it was worth it, because it really wasn't.
That was something that he made a habit. He started gambling, and he a lot of times would use the money that he stole to then go gamble and drink. Like a shit person. The police investigated as best they could, but there was just no evidence for who did it, and and there was no witnesses. He made sure of that, so he just got away with it. But she survived and she was okay.
I was going to say, as long as she's okay.
So she got away.
Hope her face was okay.
Relatively easily. Very easily compared to his other victims.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn Mitchell Hill. On the 1st of March, 1989. So, Margaret was in January. This was in March, 1989. Glover was having his usual drinks at the RSL after work.
With stolen money.
Likely. As he walked to his car, he noticed 82-year-old Gwendolyn Mitchell Hill on her way home from the shops. She's just doing her shopping. He noted that she was moving slowly because she was using a walking stick to get around.
Don't target the women with the walking sticks.
Yes. He made his way to his car.
Don't target women.
Don't target anybody.
Don't target.
Just don't target. Unless it's for shopping.
Yeah.
He went to his car and grabbed a hammer, which he then tucked into his belt. He then followed her the whole way back to her retirement village, and as she was turning the key to her door, he hit her in the back of the head with the hammer. As she was turning the key to go inside. Yeah. He then, this is a trigger warning, he then violently beat her in the head and body, breaking several of her ribs, and then stole her purse and the $100 that was inside and got away. $100. But
the other lady got a punch in the face and he's still got more money. This poor lady.
The amounts, things something that you'll notice as well. The amounts that he's getting from this is like minuscule. It's not. He's not doing it for the money.
If he is, I guess he's thinking, they're gonna have money.
And also, it's in a rich neighborhood.
Yeah.
So there was a few that he got a fair bit from, but he doesn't know how much he's going to get. He's not doing it for the money.
He's not watching them to see what they're, buying. If they're buying top brand stuff, or are they going for the black and gold? Like, are you buying three-ply Kleenex, or are you buying one-ply black and gold?
Nobody who's not from I think that's just a South Australian thing. I'm pretty sure it's not even in Victoria. I used to live in Victoria. I don't even think
home brand type things.
No, but like black and gold specifically.
Oh yeah. But like
that's like the cheap.
The cheapest of cheap, like the
cheapest
of
cheap.
The generic.
You buy the black and gold orange juice, and it doesn't even taste that. I don't even know what is in that. Straight up turpentine, probably.
Yeah.
Honestly. It does not taste like oranges, I can tell you that much.
No.
I used to get that every morning at my dad's.
Yeah. It has a weird taste.
But he wasn't doing this for the money.
No.
He was doing it because he got thrills from it.
Yeah.
Obviously. Disgusting.
Is there more about her? Did she?
Yes. He left her on the ground bleeding and beaten, but she was still breathing. 2 schoolboys found her and got help for her, but she sadly passed away later that day. It happens a few times in this where kids will find the bodies. Children coming home from school.
Yeah.
And that is just so fun. Not only have you taken her life and ruined her entire family's lives by taking her from them,
you've also
just traumatized whoever finds
for
her
the rest of the life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, whether it be a full-grown adult or a child, you've traumatized.
You've just traumatized whoever comes across. That's so awful. So shitty.
You're a douchebag.
Yes. So she unfortunately passed away. The cases of Gwendolyn and Margaret weren't initially linked because neighbours assumed Gwendolyn had just fallen and hit her head. And also, this drives me insane because not only does it happen, it happens so many times in this case. They hosed down the crime scene because there was blood everywhere and stuff. So they hosed it down because they, she didn't like her space. They were cleaning it up for her because they thought that she'd fallen and hit her head. So many times have neighbours or friends or family and stuff cleaned up the crime scene because they
think... Guys, if you find a crime scene, don't touch anything.
But they didn't think that it was a crime scene. They think that they'd just fallen because it's all old ladies. So they think that they had just fallen, and so they were just doing a nice thing, cleaning it up.
And I can't get up.
Cleaning Kimberly. They just like cleaning it up for them, which it's so.
I mean, that's sweet, but also
you can see where they're coming from. But
yeah.
it's all the authorities could do was just speculate, really, and they treated it as a mugging gone wrong, which is what it looked like, really, after the initial she didn't fall.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, hang on a minute.
And after this, Glover returned home as if nothing had happened and went back to his totally unassuming wife and children.
Oh my God.
As he did after everyone. Alrighty.
This lady's poor family is just like,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Grandma's dead.
Yeah.
God.
And she was so close to getting inside as well.
Yeah, she was right there.
Yeah. And he followed her.
He probably did it because it makes it look like she just fell while she was at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if he did anything while he was walking, like, that would be, like, real obvious that something was sus. So, like...
Yeah. Alright. Lady Winifred Ashton. Just 10 weeks after his last attack, on May 9th... I messed up that date. I said 1889. It is 1989.
1989.
We're just going to go back 100 years.
Yeah, time travel.
He was on his way to the RSL.
Yep.
To spend the afternoon drinking and gambling, as
with stolen money.
Per usual, likely. He had his hammer with him this day, because, you know, we all just carry a hammer on our belts around, like a normal...
Yeah.
Just...
Yeah, let me just pull it out of my Dora the Explorer backpack.
Like... That's, you know, doesn't everyone? When he was getting close to the RSL, he saw an old lady shuffling towards him. She was wearing a red raincoat and using a walking stick. And I had to add that because she was the cutest little lady that you ever did see. She was on her way home after playing a few rounds of bingo at the club. Yeah.
The bingo.
Yeah. Her name was Lady Winifred Ashton, and she was the widow of the late artist Sir William Ashton. She was 84 years old, and she was currently suffering from lymph cancer.
Oh.
Yeah. Glover slipped a pair of gloves onto his hands and quietly followed her to her nearby apartment. When she made her way into the building's foyer, he pulled out his hammer and began beating her. He then threw her on the floor and dragged her to the block's rubbish bay. She put up a massive fight, and Glover later admitted, at one stage, quote, "At one stage, she almost had me until I fell on top of her and repeatedly bashed her head against the concrete," end quote.
Oh.
So she put up a real fight.
Poor lady.
Yeah. Once he'd beaten her unconscious, he took off her pantyhose and used them to strangle her to death. After making sure she was dead, he laid her cane and shoes neatly at her feet, and this is something that he begins to do now. Like, this is sort of like he's now got like a signature.
Trademark, yeah.
Yep. So the first two, he didn't really. He was, you know, getting into his vibe, if you will, and he now has a signature. So he will strangle his victims with their pantyhose and then lay their shoes, and if they have a cane, at their feet. After making sure she was dead, he then took her $100 that her purse contained and headed to the same bar that she'd recently left. Yeah. At the bar, he bought himself a drink and began using the stolen money on the pokies. And when he heard the sirens rushing to the nearby crime scene, he turned to the bartender and commented that he sure hoped there wasn't another vicious mugging in the area, knowing full well that he'd just killed her. When the police found Lady Ashton, she was lying face down with blood poured around her head, as well as trickling out of her mouth. Her arms had been laid by her sides and her legs were crossed over. They also noted that the killer had used so much force to strangle her that the pantyhose was cutting into her neck. Yeah.
Oh,
An autopsy revealed that although the crime scene looked sexual in nature, that there was no semen present, so he hadn't raped her. They ruled out money as a motive for the murder because she was still wearing an expensive diamond ring.
That's the thing, like, a lot of these old ladies as well have been married and they'll have nice jewellery.
Yeah, so they ruled out money as a motive, except that it was, like, they later asked Glover about this, and he just said that he preferred the convenience of stealing cash rather than trying to, like, sell or pawn jewellery.
I guess that's right.
And because a lot of jewellery can be traced, if it has, like, serial numbers, stuff like that, they can trace that.
A lot of stuff back
Unfortunately,
then
he
was
was-
one of a kind as
Yeah,
well.
unfortunately, he was kind of smart in that regard, but
Yeah.
also he was just lazy. He literally would just take the cash and then go straight to the pokies. So he didn't care about getting actual, like, large sums of money from these murders.
To keep him.
But now police were sort of connecting everything, and they were fairly certain that it was one killer for all of these sort of like attacks on elderly women in that area, because it was all in the same area.
It's all in the same area,
Yeah.
All
But
these
they didn't-
80-odd-year-old. Like,
Yeah,
they're all
but they
been
didn't
between
connect the first two because they
80 to
just thought that
85.
it was like an accident sort of thing for that original one. Alright, I'm going to go into a few further attacks now. Glover's mental state at this point was deteriorating even more, and he was just getting what's the word? Less careful and more erratic.
Yeah.
We'll say that. So he was now also starting to molest bed-confined elderly women in the North Shore nursing homes. So he was going to nursing homes. Now, we're going to get into this because you'd be like, well, how does he just going into nursing homes and molesting women?
Yeah.
Like, why? What's going on there? So let's get into it.
Volunteer?
Well, he was a volunteer at the Senior Citizen Society, but no, that's not. He actually, surprisingly enough, did nothing in that regard. Like, he kept that part of his life separate entirely. So his family, his home life, his like volunteer status, his member of the community status, he kept entirely separate from like his crimes. It was like he was this entire exactly, which is why it was so hard for his family to understand who he was later. Very, very similar to John Wayne Gacy and BTK and like all of these other killers, Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Then everyone was like,
everyone
what?
loved Ted Bundy.
They were like, he was so normal.
Yeah.
Yes. No, he had a new job at this stage. He was now working as a pie salesman for the 4 and 20 pie company. You know the 4 and 20 pies?
20,
yeah. He was a pie salesman for that company. So he would go into nursing homes as part of that job.
Right.
Yeah. So the first woman Glover molested was 77-year-old Marjorie Mosley, which her name is so cute.
It's so pretty.
They're also all just such beautiful people.
Old
and
names.
it's just, it is horrific. On the 6th of June, 1989. This is all in 1989, by the way.
That's
He
a lot
is
of shit going
very
down.
quick. Like, he's doing all
That's
of
in like
this.
6 months.
Yeah. He's killed multiple people. He's molesting people. This is insanely, like, erratic.
That's crazy.
He was just, yes. On the 6th of June, 1989, at the Belrose Wesley Gardens retirement home, he slid his hand under her nightie, and then when she later reported it, she said she couldn't remember what he looked like. Because, again, a lot of these are elderly women in care with things like Alzheimer's.
Yeah, dementia, yeah.
Yes. And a lot of them, unfortunately, couldn't remember what he looked like, or if they could, it was skewed, and like, it was just... Luckily, there wasn't any cases, like, within this where people weren't believed. Like, luckily, that wasn't something that happened. Like, they were all taken very seriously. It was just unfortunate because they couldn't remember any of the details. Like, the police, aside from the start where he got, like, no jail time, like, if they had just thrown him in jail from the start, none of this would have happened. Let's just make that clear.
To a degree, if he did get out later, less of this.
And he would have been more monitored, likely.
Yeah.
But no, they just... At the start. But after that, when they were actually taking reports from these women, they were being listened to. It was just really hard because they couldn't provide enough, like, context and details for the police to go on.
Yeah.
Almost 3 weeks later, on the 24th of June, literally within the same month, he was at the Carolyn Chisholm nursing home, something along those lines. Here, he groped the buttocks of one woman before going next door and doing the same to another woman's breasts. The woman screamed, and Glover went to make his escape but was stopped by nursing room staff. They tried to question him, but he talked his way out of the situation and quickly left, which is something that he is very, very good at. He was very good at talking his way out of situations because he came off as a friendly guy, sort of like the trustworthy dad type. Like, if you see him, when you look at a photo of him knowing everything that he's done, you're like, ew.
Yeah.
Disgusting, scary.
But if you
looked at him just as as your friend's dad.
Yeah.
Or like a volunteer.
Yeah.
At a citizen society, a pie salesman.
Yeah.
Like, he seems very normal.
Yeah.
And he was very good at making himself appear that way and making himself appear friendly and talking himself out of situations. Yeah. So, me also. Yes. On the 8th of August, he beat an elderly woman named Effie Carney. I love the name Effie so much. Effie Carney, as she was walking down the street. He then proceeded to steal her groceries and run off. Which, what a fucking asshole. She didn't have any, she probably didn't have any money on her because she'd probably just gone shopping, but he stole her groceries.
She's like, I gotta go and get my bread and apple juice.
Yeah. Like, I mean, again with the apple juice. I mean, she was very lucky because she didn't get assaulted, but
come on, man.
What a dick.
She just wanted to make some banana bread. Come on.
She was probably on her way to make an apple pie, and he just, yeah. But anyway. In Neutral Bay, 2 suburbs south of Mossman, on the 6th of October, Glover entered the Wybenia nursing home pretending to be a doctor. He put his hands up the dress of a blind patient named Phyllis McNeil, but ran when she yelled for help. Blind patient. He's vile.
That's gross.
He is vile. On the 18th of October, so that was the 6th of October, this is the 18th of October.
Oh,
he was walking in Mossman when he started talking to an 86-year-old Alzheimer's sufferer, Doris Cox. He accompanied her, walking slowly with her because she...
Yeah, they walk very slowly.
Yes.
They'll either run
they'll walk
Usain Bolt. Slowly. Yeah, they will Usain Bolt or they will turtle.
Doris was not. Doris was just plodding along like a sweet little...
Just chilling, man.
Little lovely lady that she was. He walked with her until they reached her retirement village, and as they entered the stairwell of her building, he grabbed her head and smashed it into the wall. She fell at his feet, and he immediately searched her handbag, looking for anything of interest to him. He didn't even take anything, by the way. He never took anything from her. He didn't find anything that interested him. And decided to leave without strangling her.
Oh, wow. How nice of him.
Yeah, I know. What a gent. Fortunately, she did survive the attack.
Oh, my God.
But when she provided a description of him to police, it wasn't exactly accurate because she had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Whether this was because of her shock or her Alzheimer's, she described her attacker as younger, possibly a teenager on a skateboard, which was not even remotely close. Yeah. When she worked with a sketch artist too and created a composite that unfortunately looked nothing at all like Glover. Yeah. So the police were now looking for local young men with any connections to the victims or anybody who'd been acting like weird or shady in the area. So they were looking at the completely wrong profile for this killer, which was unfortunate. But yeah, she did survive. But it did kind of throw off the investigation.
Yeah, no kidding.
Quite a lot, actually.
He probably planned that as well.
I mean, I assume that he's attacking these people because they're easy targets.
Yeah. And they're not going to remember him.
Yes, yeah.
That's the thing.
And he's also hitting them in the head.
Also that'll do it.
Yeah. He smashed her head into a wall, so that likely isn't going to help with her recollection of him. On the 2nd of November, approached a 78-year-old woman in Lane Cove, a suburb about 10 kilometres northwest of Mossman. I'm not converting it to miles if there's any. We use kilometres. I think that most of our listeners are in Australia, and if they're not, there's a lot of them in other European countries, and they also use kilometres, so...
Convert it yourself, America.
Convert it yourself.
Just please change for everyone else's convenience.
I looked up shillings
to
goat purchasing power, so you can convert to miles.
You can convert it yourself, mate.
Okay.
We love you, but like...
Yeah. I'm totally kidding. No.
Give a spray.
I'm totally not. Her name was Dorothy Benke, and she was making her way home from the shops, like many of these others.
All the other ladies.
Yes. And Glover offered to help her carry her groceries.
Oh, what a gentleman.
This one's bizarre. She told him that would be very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
And even offered him a cup of tea once they got to her place.
Bless her.
Yeah, and for some reason he declined her cup of tea, and he left with no incidents. Yeah, you were not expecting that one. I don't know if it was because she was just so, like, if she humanized herself to him in some way, like, because he walked with her the entire way home. He carried her groceries home for her, and then she offered him a cup of tea. I don't know if she somehow made herself appear human to him, and it just threw him off.
Whoa.
He just couldn't do it. He declined her tea and left. And that was the end of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe he, like, I don't know if this was a situation that happened, but maybe he saw, like, her neighbours or something. Like, maybe they came on the way home and she said hi to her neighbours or something like that, saw him with her. I don't know. Nobody really knows. Like, nobody has said anything. He hasn't said anything about why he did. He just declined their offer and left. And that was the end of that.
Wow.
How lucky.
How lucky.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
My gosh.
Margaret, I don't know how to say her. Pard? I feel like it's Pard.
Todd, maybe?
Apologies. Margaret. Marge, if you will. As he headed back to his car, this is the same day, so he's just left, no incidents, but he hasn't gotten his fix, obviously.
Yeah.
He headed back to his car. He spotted an 85-year-old Margaret also returning from the shops. He grabbed her from behind and beat her across the head. As she fell to the ground, he hit her again, leaving her with massive fractures to the skull. And she was found just a few minutes later by a local schoolgirl.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Glover had rearranged her clothes, shoes, and walking stick, but ran off with her handbag because he didn't have time to, like, search through it. He just grabbed it, ran. So he did take the time to rearrange her, do his signature, and then he just ran off with her bag. While the police were examining the scene, he was hiding out on a nearby golf course and rummaging through the bag, trying to find anything of interest to him. He found $300 and he made his way to the local...
Bookies.
Where are we going to go?
RSL.
Yes. To drink and gamble.
Naturally.
As per usual.
Yep.
The task force, because they had a task force at this stage, they set up one fairly quickly and it grew quite rapidly because this was all happening in a very short space of time.
Yeah, no kidding.
They weren't getting anywhere. They had a composite sketch, but it was nothing like who they were actually looking for.
It's
they had
Tony Hawk instead of bum.
Yeah. Literally. They were finding it very difficult, and they had, like, no connections between these, like, between the victims and then the nursing homes and stuff. Like, they were finding it very hard to connect, so there was a task force dedicated to this, and it was led by Detective Mike Hagan. It now had 35 officers and was the largest Australia had ever had at that time.
No kidding.
They posted a $20,000 reward along with the sketch from Doris Cox and urged the task force to follow up on every possible lead, even if it seemed insignificant. But unfortunately, they had the wrong. But they were trying.
Yeah.
They were trying. Olive Cleveland. Glover found his next victim less than 24 hours after killing Margaret. Yeah, so he is getting real...
He's picking up the pace.
Yeah. So things are getting out of hand now. If they weren't already, they are spiraling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On the 3rd of November, Glover was back at Wesley Gardens Retirement Village in Belrose, the aged care facility where he molested Marjorie Mosley.
Yeah.
He was there as part of his job, and on the way back to his car through the garden, he started talking to 81-year-old Olive Cleveland, who was sitting by herself reading. She's literally just trying to have a quiet moment to herself, read a book in the garden, and
Poor Olive.
Oh, sorry. Can we just talk one sec? I said this a long time, quite a few times throughout this, but I love the name Olive.
I know.
I said to Zach the other day, because they're watching a show, Manifest on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, it's so fucking good. So good. But there's a character on there called Olive.
Yeah.
And I said to Zach the other day, I was like, what do you think of the name Olive? And he was like, yeah, that's alright. I love the name Olive. I think that if we have a daughter, I'm going to name her Olive. Because it is so cute.
Do it.
Anyway. Olive. Beautiful name.
Olive. So
beautiful
cute.
name. She was sitting by herself reading. She immediately felt uncomfortable by Glover and she started to walk away from him. But he followed and he grabbed her from behind. He forced her over to a side path and repeatedly slammed her head into the concrete until she stopped struggling. He then repeated his signature by strangling her with her pantyhose. And he rearranged her clothes, walking stick and shoes, and then made off with a whole $60
Wow.
that she had on her. Yeah. Yeah. So fucking brutal. And he took $60 from her. You just... There's no way that he's doing it for the money.
No.
There's just no way. That's not a thing that's happening.
That's not it.
No. Police had exhausted all leads for this murder. They had no idea. And so they increased the reward for information to $200,000. So it was $20,000. They've now made it $200,000 for any information leading to the arrest of what they were now calling the granny killer.
Yeah.
The police literally didn't have anything new to go on, so they went back over all their evidence and they made a connection.
Ooh.
Yeah. Each of the surviving victims had seen a middle-aged man with greying hair who was well-dressed. So this was the first time that they had a connection between all of them with a suspect that a common.
Yeah.
Like this was the only common denominator.
Yeah.
This was the only common denominator.
Words are hard.
And words are so hard. Out of all of this.
Yeah.
I was at CFS last night and I straight up, I went to say a conversation. No, I went to say a sentence.
Yeah. See?
Words are so hard.
Words are so hard.
It's so hard, man. I went to say a sentence and I said it so confidently, but none of the words were in the order.
The worst.
Yeah, and I said it so confidently too. I was
I was
very confident
dead
speaking.
set.
Yeah,
dead
I was
set.
asking a question and I said it with such confidence, and all the words came out in the complete wrong sentence structure. They were just all over the place. And I just paused with this quizzical look on my face. And the funny thing is that my CFS captain also didn't register it until a few moments later, and we were just staring at each other with a quizzical look, and I went, "That's not right, is it?"
He's wait a minute.
No.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's incredible.
It was fantastic. It was good. It was good.
It's like me when I get a migraine. I get all the the spots in the eyes and I can't feel my hand. I could borrow John's hammer and smash my hand with it and I'll be able to feel it basically. But I'll start to say a sentence.
Yes.
And it will just be
some
sort of
it falls out of your mouth and it takes so long for you to even register that wasn't correct.
Yeah, and you're like, wait.
Wait. Yeah, and it was a very funny moment, and I was like, I shall restart.
Let me just restart my computer system.
We shall reboot. Let's go back to the beginning. Thank you.
Oh God.
Also, I recently realized that I got a message about it after my first CFS meeting that one of the CFS members listens to the podcast, and yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Dimmy. And then, do you know Dimmy?
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
I might. I don't know. I know a lot of people feel bad, but like...
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Kimberly's dad is also in the CFS, so that's a fun little tidbit. But Tim messaged me and said, oh my god, I just realised that I listened to your podcast, and she sent me screenshots, and I was mortified.
You're like, oh no, hi, Jimmy.
That is awful.
That's funny. Hi, Jimmy. We hope you're enjoying this one.
I mean,
like to a degree.
To a degree. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't enjoy death. Come on.
No, I suppose we should probably get back to the...
Oh yeah, back to
when I learn how to speak.
This
hard
word. Yeah.
Common denominator.
That's one.
Was where I was going with that.
Yeah.
This was the first thing that they had in common between all of the cases. They finally had a suspect profile.
Yeah.
That
wasn't Tony Hawk from 2003.
Yes. That seemed a more likely
option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Than a rebel kid on a skateboard.
Yeah. I mean,
it is possible, yeah.
They
but
tried.
Like,
they tried. Yes.
The poor lady who gave the description, like, yeah. She'd been through some stuff.
Now, in all of these cases, they had said they'd seen a middle-aged man with greying hair pass by them, and then they'd been attacked from behind. So they couldn't, at the time, they couldn't identify who had attacked them or anything, but each of them said that they saw a man pass by them, and then suddenly they were attacked. Yeah. So this is where the police are like, bring it all together, they're figuring this out. Yeah, this was when they'd realised they'd been looking for the wrong suspect, basically, and instead of looking for a younger man, they needed to start focusing on the people that didn't stand out.
Yeah.
The ones that could enter places without any suspicion, and the men who appeared normal, like safe, like that friendly neighbourhood.
The comfort person.
The people who blended in. That's who they needed to start looking at.
They'd be sus.
Yes. All right. Muriel Faulkner.
Oh, I love the name Muriel.
Yes. See, these are also such sweet old ladies, and it's really, really sad. Glover didn't realise that the police were chasing new leads. He thought that he was
safe.
Well, yes, but he'd flown under the radar, and he'd gotten away with literally everything at this point.
No kidding.
He'd gotten, at this point, 6 weeks jail time out of everything that he's done. He got that 3-month probation, and then he was supposed to have the however many long like jail.
9.
So I don't even know what it was, but he only served 6 weeks of it. So he's gotten away with literally everything. Like he's just getting a little bit cocky at this stage. But he didn't realise that the police were closing in on this sort of thing. So he really didn't think twice about murdering his third victim for the month. Yeah. Third victim for the month. On the 23rd of November, Glover was in the Bona Vista Hotel. I believe that's how you say it. When he saw 92-year-old Muriel Faulkner through the window. And I'm sorry, you go 92 years of your life, and this is how horrific.
I was literally just thinking about that. I was like, so many of these like elderly people have just fought for us.
You go your entire life
like
just being like just living your life, and you are literally just trying to enjoy the rest of your life. Just
these
enjoy
people
retirement.
fought for us, man. Like think about that.
And this is
how they were paid.
Yeah, it is horrific. It's absolutely horrific. Yeah. She was partially blind and deaf, and she was just trying to carry her groceries home, coming home from the shops. She's 92, and she's still doing her shopping.
Hell yeah!
What a bad bitch. Glover went to his car to grab his trusty hammer and gloves, and then he followed her all the way to her front door. Of course, because she was partially blind and deaf, she didn't notice him follow her inside. And he immediately held his hand over her mouth while he hit her in the head and neck with the hammer. He beat her unconscious, but she woke up as he was removing her pantyhose. So she, of course, started screaming, so he repeatedly hit her with a hammer until she was quiet. He then finished taking off her pantyhose and strangled her with them before he neatly rearranged her shoes. That's his signature. After killing her, he went through the house to look for anything of interest to him. He took $100 from her purse, put the cash and weapons into a bag, and walked right out the front door. Super casual. Yeah. The next afternoon, a neighbour dropped by Mrs. Falconer's house and used the spare key to open the door. Because all of these women had families who cared about them.
Yeah.
Like, so she had someone who checked up on her and all of this. Like, they weren't, like... They had people who cared.
Yeah.
When she entered, she found the awful scene left by Bella. This was the first crime scene that police had that was secured properly. So this was major in the case.
Yeah.
Because, of course, all of the other ones, they had either thought originally that they'd fallen, there'd been people that had trampled the crime scene, it was, like, outdoors, you know, like, there was so many different cases. But this was the first one that was, like, inside a home, untouched. You know, like, the only person who came in afterwards
was that one person.
Yeah. And obviously the police were immediately able to secure this crime scene. So that was huge. Huge for this case. She was killed in her home, and Glover closed the door behind him as he left. So all the previous crime scenes had been highly contaminated, and this one wasn't. So the police found a shoe print left in blood on the carpet, as well as a witness who saw a grey-haired, middle-aged man in the area the day before. It's all falling into place at this stage. Yeah. A few weeks later, the New South Wales government upped the reward to $250,000.
Shit, they were after a man.
They were closing in. They were on this. Yeah. So this is all while Glover's just living his life as a, quote, devoted and hardworking family man.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he goes back to his family like nothing happened.
A pillar of the community, if you will.
Yeah, like you just haven't killed someone's grandma, someone's great grandma, and he's just come home and he's like, "Hi, honey, I'm home. What's for dinner?"
I just don't get. I don't understand.
What the hell, man?
Even in like just as a far smaller capacity, like people who cheat on their spouses and stuff like that. I don't like maintaining a relationship
is hard
enough. Like that's
just
the thing.
With like a singular you and your partner, like that's hard enough.
Yeah,
like
going to work, just keeping my house clean, having a relationship. I don't know, actually seeing my friends. That seems like a lot of effort to me. I can't imagine adding like other life.
Yeah. See, like I don't,
because these people literally lead double lives.
Yeah.
How?
And, like I say to Rachel, like, her and her partner, because I don't have a partner myself at the current moment. I haven't for a while. But like, yeah, like friendship wise, having a relationship just with your friends and seeing them, like I haven't seen A for ages.
Yeah.
Like I saw her mum the other day at the pub and I caught up with her, but like I haven't seen A for ages. I'm at work all the time.
That's why I don't understand. How do you live an entire other life? And he's going to work.
He's going to work. He's finding time to kill people, to go to the RSL and the pokies, to go home and be like, "Hey, honey, what's for dinner? My day's been great."
And by all accounts, he was an amazing father.
And then an amazing husband, and doing all that stuff and having kids as well. That's a whole new level.
He has 2 daughters.
Oh.
Actually, that's another reason why he opted for he just, I don't know if, I mean, obviously it's for the convenience and because they're easy targets, but I don't know if having daughters made him defer, because obviously there's quite a few people who go for sort of younger women as victims.
Yeah.
I don't know if that deferred him, probably. But
look, man, why couldn't you go after people who've done other people dirty, not just innocent women?
Yeah.
Ugh. Anywho, tell me about what happened next.
So he had a break from work over Christmas.
Oh, that's nice.
Most many people do. But went back in early 1990, and it was around this time that he made a mistake, because they always do. They eventually slip up. they
Yep.
do. And if you think about this, he was going like rapid fire, crime after crime after crime.
He's been doing this since like the 70s, man.
Yeah, but like he's doing this in such rapid succession.
Yeah.
Like you gotta like he's
How
gonna.
is no one?
He's gonna make a mistake.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a mistake somewhere there. Yep. So Glover had gone to work at the Greenwich, I feel like it's Greenwich, hospital on the 11th of January. He had a meeting with the administrator, Reg Cadman. Glover was a regular at this care facility by now because, you know, like it was part of his job, and the majority of the staff knew him at least by sight, if not by name.
Yeah.
So he's well known in this hospital. After his meeting, while he was still wearing his very distinctive blue and white 4-20 salesman jacket and carrying his clipboard, he went into the palliative care ward.
No.
He is actively on the job at this point, wearing the uniform. The staff in this hospital know him at least by sight, if not by name, like on a first name basis with him.
Yeah.
And he goes into the palliative care ward too. Yes. The unit was home to 4 old women at the time. One woman living in the ward was 82-year-old Daisy Roberts, who was suffering from the advanced stages of cancer. Because that's what palliative care wards are for. It's like end-of-life care. Yeah.
Don't forget I have a certificate and I did a... Yeah, I have
Really?
certificate 3 in aged care, individual
I did
support.
not know that.
And I did 2 weeks of placement.
Why don't you do that as a job?
Because I don't want to.
Okay, that's fair.
It's heartbreaking. I can't.
That's fair.
And when I went in for placement, you're supposed to be one-on-one with someone the whole time. Like, you're not meant to have the staff member leave you. And like my first day, no kidding, I went in there with my mentor person, who then halfway through that week went on holiday. So then I was placed with someone else. It was ridiculous. They're like, oh, we've got to go and take care of, say, Anna. I don't know. We've got to go and look after Anna. You stay here and look after Mary. So, like,
so you're not supposed to be doing that.
They went off, and I was sitting there, and I was like, you know, they just pulled her out of the shower. So there's this poor lady, vulnerable, with some random, like, I was, you know, 20, 21 at this point, like...
For someone that she doesn't know.
Some young girl who she's never met before. But like I was, of course, very nice, very gentle because I'm scared I don't want to hurt someone.
Still doesn't help that you don't know them.
I don't know them, they don't know me, and I just felt like, and I was like drying between her toes because like you don't want yucky. Their toes are very like clamped together. When you get old, your body's rigid. 23 and my body's already feeling like that. But I'm clean between her toes, and she looks at me. She's like, "Thank you. No one ever takes the time to do this. You get 6 minutes in the morning to get a resident up, out of bed, on the toilet, if not showered on the toilet as well, because a lot of the toilets are in the same facility as the shower. Shower them, get them dressed, so get them dry, semi-dry, get them dressed, and then into the room for like breakfast. 6 minutes, dude. It takes me 6 minutes to even like think about getting in the shower after about 4 hours of going, I need a shower.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it takes me in the shower?
That's
like,
ridiculous.
Like
I can't imagine. I cared for my mum for a while, and I can't imagine having 6 minutes.
No.
It took hours.
Do you know how long it takes one damn sock on?
Yeah. I do actually.
It takes long enough for me to put my socks on, let alone someone, and 6 minutes is not, when I'm old, if I get old enough and I'm in an aged care facility, I am telling whoever's waking me up at 6 o'clock in the morning and getting me dressed, shower dressing up and into the kitchen, the dining area, I'm gonna tell them where to shove it, okay?
Well, that must be so stressful as well, like as a resident.
Oh my god, yeah, imagine that. And someone's just gone, hi, are you ready to, like, saying, like, you're laying down, you've been in bed, you've been asleep.
Not even awake.
Not even awake. And I've gone, hi Rachel, good morning, can I turn the light on? It's time to get up. And you're like, what? Like, who's in my room? And I just turn on the light, and I'm like, okay, what do you want to wear today? Do you want to wear this? And then
that's so traumatic. And some of these people don't even remember, like,
Yeah,
That is so
especially in
traumatic.
the dementia ward. My
This is
God.
why, aged care facilities are so scary. Like, a lot of workers do their best, but a lot of them don't.
A lot of them don't.
A lot of them
My
don't.
mum works in aged care, and
It
the
is
story
horrific.
she tells me.
I could never put anyone that I
No.
love into a facility. I
No.
just can't.
No.
If my kids are listening, first of all, if my future children are listening to this, if you put me in an aged care facility, or I swear
Auntie
to
Kimbo's
God,
coming for you, right?
your inheritance is zip it,
It's
gone.
all coming to go Auntie Kimbo. Like, nothing for you.
I will donate it all. You will not get a cent to put me in a home. Oh,
Screw
love
you
that.
guys. Screw you guys. Auntie Kimbo's getting the left in the will. You're not getting anything. Yeah, that's it.
dear.
But no, I can't. And so many people are like, just do that. And I'm like, I don't know what's worse, working at a chicken farm or working and wiping people's bums and being invasive in a space.
I mean,
I know they need the help.
Chicken farms suck. I would know a bit of that, but you don't have to work with people, so
Yeah.
in general.
Well, but also just the way that it's.
Yeah,
And
no,
not-
I can see that. It is extremely hard. If you are in a job that you have to do that, hats off to you.
Yeah,
'cause
hats off to you. Like,
you are a real one.
especially through the pandemic, like,
Oh my God,
not even
yes.
like, this was like 2018 that I did this, so like during the pandemic, if you've been like my mom, like I don't know, she's been so scared. She goes home and she goes to work, she goes back home, she goes to work, like that's all she does, because she's scared to go to the shops because she doesn't want to get sick, not because she's worried about herself, but because she's worried about her residents. She doesn't want to
Absolutely.
get them sick, like that's,
Yeah,
nah,
yeah.
it's so hard, and like you just
And nurses and all of you guys
Oh.
are real ones. Absolute real ones.
hell yeah.
I
Nurses,
suppose.
doctors, dentists, like
Oh,
Bruh.
anyone in healthcare. Anyone on the
healthcare.
front lines. Anyone
The
who's
assistants.
essential workers.
Yeah.
Anything. Like, you guys are killing it.
you're the real deal.
Right.
Just don't kill people, please.
Let's just
Anyway,
not kill
so
people.
yeah, let's not kill people. So he's made a mistake. He's gone into the palliative care.
Yeah, he's gone to the palliative care.
He's wearing his 4 and 20
Yes.
pie uniform. Awesome.
82-year-old Daisy Roberts
Daisy.
was in this ward. She was suffering from the advanced stages of cancer. Glover approached her and asked her if she was losing any body heat because he's foul. He then proceeded to lift the covers and touch her indecently, and thankfully she was able to press the call button for assistance without like alerting him.
Yeah, because the call bells, so like, if
Yeah.
people don't know, so like, they can
It's
press a
like-
button and it will ring on the outside in the hallway,
Yeah.
but it won't ring any alarm
Yeah.
in the room.
So it's just a little, like a cord with a button attached to it that you can like hold in your hand, and you could just press that button and it will either like a light will sort of like, I think some places they like a light turns on
light.
outside the room, it'll ring a bell in the nurse's station, but it doesn't like,
There's
it's not like an alarm sound
There's
or
like a
anything.
little screen that'll like an LED screen that'll
Yeah.
come up with like the number of the room with the call alarm.
Yeah, but it won't make a
won't
sound inside
in the room,
the
yeah.
patient's room. Yes. So she was able to press the call button without alerting him. Go her. And one of the staff walked in and saw Glover standing over her. When he was asked who he was, he ran out the room, obviously, but was followed, and the nurse was able to get the registration number of his car. That bitch. So this mistake was a mistake. Like, he fucked up. So not only was like she able to get assistance, and then staff saw him, and all the staff know him. So he was seen doing this, and then also they got the registration of his car.
Boy,
So
what are
he,
you
like,
doing?
fucked up.
He done fucked.
He done fucked up. When the police came to investigate the incident, they had no trouble identifying him as John Wayne Glover. But it took a further week for police to get an image of him to bring back for the nurse to possibly ID him.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took
Yeah, why did it
that
take a
long.
week? I guess
That's-
Facebook wasn't a thing. You couldn't just pull out
yeah.
you couldn't pull out your iPhone 11 Max 30
Yeah,
plus.
so, but they did...
Fancy.
It would have been good if they, like, didn't take a week. But, you know,
Yeah,
they anyway, they brought
Especially
a photo
with the
back.
lady in palliative care as well. Like,
Yeah, but this was for the nurse to
I
identify him.
mean, yeah, but if they could ask the lady in palliative, like,
yeah,
that'll be
who
very
knows?
helpful, yeah.
Who knows why it took so long? But anyway, it took a week, and she positively ID'd him from the photo. it was... this is frustrating. So this is where, like, they didn't communicate. This was between, like, the local police and the task force. There was not communication. There should have been.
Sounds like my work.
Yeah. It was a further 3 weeks before the task force even heard about the incident.
What the hell?
And they could connect it to the murders.
3 weeks?
Well, because they weren't connecting this with the murders. They were just connecting this as a molestation at a nursing home.
Oh my god.
So there was this separate sexual assault case, and they'd positively ID'd him for this. So they'd positively say, okay, yep, that John Wayne Glover, he indecently assaulted an elderly woman, but they weren't connecting it to the murders going on in the area. So they didn't, like, it. That connection was not made for 3 weeks.
Yeah. 3 weeks is a lot.
3 weeks. For him, especially.
For him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy can do a lot in that time.
Yeah. Meanwhile, through Chatswood detectives had called to set up an interview with him to talk about the attack on Daisy Roberts for 5 p.m. the next day. Now, let me just preface this by saying, when does it ever work setting up an appointment with someone to talk about? Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like once people know that you're onto them,
you don't want to go to a meeting.
I don't
with
think
someone who wants to put you behind.
I don't know
bars.
that he's going to be super pleased about that.
No.
Like, is he just going to walk in? You know, he's just got an iced coffee. He's like, I'm ready for my meeting.
Here, guys, I got my Farmers Union.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I brought a sandwich actually.
So I'm just trying to make this sound so Australian. Like,
but you know, like I got a sandwich just in case I get hungry. What do you guys want to talk to me about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made a meeting. I'm actually 5 minutes early. No.
Like,
no, he's not going to do that.
I forgot my nippies. Let me just go down.
Yeah. No. So they set up a meeting for 5 p.m. the next day. When he didn't show up.
Wait, what?
He didn't show up.
No
Was he late? Did he have car trouble?
Damn. Oh, I forgot. I forgot about the meeting. Sorry, guys.
I didn't put it in my planner. I actually confused it for next week. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
Dang. Sorry.
Yeah. No. When he didn't show up, a detective called his home, and he was then told by his wife that he'd attempted suicide. Shocker. So this detective calls his home, and his wife is like, actually, my husband just tried to commit suicide. Why are you calling? Can I leave a message? No. Officers rushed to
the other side.
Officers rushed to the Royal North Shore Hospital where he was being treated for an attempted overdose. They weren't able to speak with him at that time, but
sorry,
nursing.
That's not funny, but like, he's now trying to run away because he knows that he's busted.
Yeah, of course he does.
For one thing.
Yeah, this is just for that.
This isn't even everything.
He doesn't.
Yet, like,
but
he doesn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't know that. He just knows that like they know about this.
Thing, yeah.
But like, I'm sure he's smart enough to know that they're going to connect it.
Yeah.
They weren't able to speak with him, but nursing staff gave them his suicide note. Part of it read, quote, "No more grannies," as well as, quote, "Essie started it," referring to his mother-in-law. Which, just, look, you're a shitty person. You murder
Don't blame on
innocent
Essie.
old women, and you're just going to be like, yeah, but my mum-in-law, she was monster-in-law. She really started it for me. What a shitty, ugh.
You can't just blame. No,
you're
a murderer.
Like, if you're a murderer, you are just
a dick.
You are just a murderer. That is just...
You're a murderer. You're an asshole. Go away.
Yeah, no, okay. So investigating officers obtained a Polaroid of Glover and handed it over along with the suicide note to the task force, who now, all they had to do is prove that he was, in fact,
the granny killer.
So they had to put this all together, which was proving quite hard, but like, they had the suicide note, which was referring to the no more grannies. So they were they were certain at that point that he was their guy. They just had to connect it so that they could get a solid case.
Yeah.
You know, providing he didn't die first.
Finish himself off.
Yeah. All they had at that time was a suspect who fit the description and had a job putting him in many of the areas where the crimes had been committed. So that's what they were trying to base on.
But
like,
they needed... It's kind of sus that you be in the same
they
place
really
every
needed
time.
like more than that.
Yeah.
When he was well enough to speak, they interviewed him, but he denied, obviously, having any involvement in the assault at the nursing home.
Oh, wow.
And the police at that time didn't mention any of the murders to him because they didn't have enough evidence to go on, and they didn't want to give him a reason to run or try to kill himself again. Yeah, so they wanted him to think that they weren't onto him.
Yeah.
They wanted him to think...
it must have just been a mishap.
They wanted him to think that the only thing they knew about was, like, this assault. They were like, hey, you assaulted a lady. And he's like, no, I didn't. And they're like, okay, sorry, our mistake.
Yeah.
Super sorry about that. No worries. But they didn't want him to know anything else.
Of course not.
No, they were keeping it close to the chest.
Honestly, they did. That is good.
Yeah. Yeah, they were really, I mean, look, there's some mistakes, but also there's mistakes in every case. Yeah. It's like I think it's just when you are looking at it from this perspective, like, everything is under a microscope, you're gonna notice, like, all of the things that they do wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the police acted like they believed him, and they just let him go. They were like, yeah, no worries, sorry, our mistake.
Sorry for the inconvenience. We'll
sorry, it must have been someone else, like, that's all good, no worries, rest up, you just
take care of yourself.
Yeah.
We want you here. Don't make yourself.
What a great guy. What a great guy.
What a stand-up lad.
Be on your way. Go home to your family. Just have a few rest days. But they had put him under 24/7 surveillance. Obviously.
Oh, to make sure that it's okay, of course. To not.
Yeah, just to monitor his condition.
Yeah.
He didn't know this.
Depression is difficult.
On the 19th of March. Police followed him to Beauty Point, an exclusive waterfront. Now we're gonna go into the fact that he did not know he was under surveillance, and what he does next proves that he had no idea he was under surveillance, because you would think that if he did, he wouldn't have done this.
All right,
19th of March, they followed him to Beauty Point, an exclusive waterfront suburb which was near Mossman. So this entire area was just like bougie as fuck.
Yeah.
He pulled up outside the home of 60-year-old Joan Sinclair. She and him were actually long-term friends. Like, he had a long-term platonic friendship with her. Yeah. He sort of just, helped her around her house and stuff like that, which is really weird considering how much he struggled with relationships with, older women.
Yeah.
But he was actually, a really good friend to her. He helped her, with anything that she needed, and that was just...
Yeah.
Yeah, so... The officers watched him as he checked his appearance in his rearview mirror before going inside. They originally just believed he was, visiting a friend, because he'd visited her so many times before. They actually weren't initially concerned about it. But they did get worried when it went past 1 p.m. and there was still no movement in the house. By 5 p.m, it was clear something was very, very wrong. So they asked Detective Hagen for permission to enter the home. He gave the all clear at 6 p.m, and 2 uniformed officers approached the house and knocked on the door under the excuse of investigating a noise complaint from barking dogs. So they had this entire plan. They were, because they didn't really have reason, obviously, and they also didn't want him to know, say this was him just visiting a friend.
Yeah.
They didn't want this to be what blew the cover of him being under surveillance.
Yeah. No, because that would be silly.
Yeah, well, because then it could prevent, if he was going to do something else.
Yeah.
He would then know that he's being surveilled.
They'd be sussing him.
Yeah, so they just wanted to tread very carefully. But 6 p.m, knocked on the door to say there was a noise complaint, and there wasn't an answer. So they went around the back of the house, where they saw through a window a hammer laying on a mat covered in dried blood. Senior officers were then informed of the situation, and Detective Sergeant Miles O'Toole and Detective Paul Mager and Detective Paul Jacob were the first officers to enter. So these are 3 senior detectives. They entered the home, and they noticed pools of blood, the hammer covered in blood, and a pair of women's underwear and a men's shirt, both drenched in blood. Or just right there. Oh, there. The next thing they noticed was Joan Sinclair's body laying naked from the waist down, with her head wrapped in a blood-soaked towel and pantyhose pressed tightly into her neck. When Glover had visited her, he brought a briefcase with him. inside the briefcase was his hammer,
Yeah.
which he then used to beat her, and concentrating mostly on her head. He then removed her pantyhose and strangled her, only this time he added to it by using several other pairs of her own pantyhose that he'd gone into her bedroom and grabbed from her drawers. He then wrapped her head in towels and dragged her body through the room, leaving a trail of blood. So he like wrapped her head in towels. I don't know if that was because, like, nobody really knows whether it's because because he had an emotional connection to her,
so
whether
he couldn't see her face,
whether he didn't want to see what he'd done, or whether he was just trying to not make such a mess.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what that would matter in that scenario. Like, obviously, like, there was still
You're
a mess.
murdering someone, man. Come on.
Yeah, so I don't know if maybe it was because he didn't want to see what he'd done.
Yeah.
But then why do it?
Yeah.
Like, it's just... this was sort of...
a close
This
friend,
was sort of but this, you'll see, is sort of like, he's like, on the way out. Like, if I'm going to go down... I'm going to do a brutal murder before I go. Like, but... to a friend, though.
But yeah, to someone you know, that's...
Yeah. So, for this murder, he used all of his signatures, as per usual.
Yeah.
But, unlike the other victims, Joan also had damage to her genitals. But Glover denied that he'd done anything sexual to her. It wasn't, like, revealed whether he had or not. It was really hard to tell. He said he didn't, but there was evidence suggesting otherwise. And he's a fucking liar, so not really going to believe him.
No.
Detective Mager found Glover lying unconscious in the bathtub, naked. Which also, why is he naked if he didn't do anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. With his left wrist slashed. They described the room as smelling of alcohol, blood, and vomit. Which...
Yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. So after killing Joan, he'd run a bath, swallowed a heap of Valium pills, and washed them down with Scotch whiskey, which... That sounds so bad.
That sounds so bad.
That sounds so gross. He then got into the bath and sliced his wrist and waited to die. An ambulance was called and Glover survived. He lived.
Suck it.
Suck it, bitch. When he woke up in the hospital, this was when he confessed to all of his crimes, but never provided a motive. Which at that point, why not? Why not just tell them everything?
Yeah, you're trying to off yourself
everything.
twice. Come on, man.
Like, you've already admitted to everything. You can't not at that stage. He could not at that
Surely.
stage. But why not just provide a motive as well? Like, the most he would say is, quote, I just see these ladies and it seems to trigger something. I just have to be violent towards them, end quote. Which, no the fuck you don't. You do not.
You need
You
therapy.
do not. You are such... You do not.
You need therapy.
You never... Okay. Nobody ever has to be violent. That is the most bullshit thing that I've ever heard.
And if you do, try something like, axe throwing or like...
Yeah! Read a fucking book. Do some boxing.
Yeah.
Like
with an actual punching bag, not a human.
Yeah. I do archery when I'm angry. With a target.
Yeah.
Not a person.
Not a person.
Okay.
I'm glad to hear that.
But his wife and teenage daughters, because he had 2 teenage daughters at this stage.
At this time, yeah.
They were absolutely broken when they heard
No
what
kidding.
happened. They found it really hard to come to terms with the fact that their loving husband and father could have done anything like this. So horrific. And these crimes were so brutal. And then, to them, he was just this gentle guy. Like, they were... Yeah, so they didn't know anything, and they were absolutely, horrified when
That's
they found
so
out.
heartbreaking.
And their lives are ruined now, too.
Yeah.
This is just...
You're that kid with a dad who killed all the grandmas?
Yeah! This is absolutely horrific. So the trial commenced on the 28th of March, 1990, and despite his confession, he pleaded not guilty to the murders of 6 elderly women, trying to say that he was temporarily insane for the period of him committing the murders.
Look, thanks, Akon. I am so
It's fine.
Okay. I'm so over people trying to use the I'm mentally unstable or like, it was because of this. Like, no, you still did it.
No, it's...
And give a confession and then be like, actually, nah, it wasn't me. Like,
No, it's so stupid.
what the hell?
It is
like,
so
it's
stupid.
not funny, but like, it's just...
So the Crown prosecutor felt the same way, and he stated that Glover knew fully the extent of his crimes, and even as he would strangle his victims, he'd be considering how he was going to spend any money that he stole from them. That does not bode well for you being insane. That shows that you are very alert and very aware
Yeah, you're
of what
aware
you're
of what
doing.
you're doing.
It's just stupid.
What drink do I buy at the RSL? Like,
Yeah, which machines am I gonna go on today? Yeah, horrific.
Yeah, I reckon the blue one. The blue one's... Oh, maybe the green one, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that one in the corner, you should be pretty lucky for me. Yeah, that as he was taking someone's life.
Yeah, as he was wrapping their...
You know, that doesn't
around their
bode
neck.
well that you're insane.
No.
He also pointed out the way that Glover had posed the scene using the pantyhose was a way to throw off the police by making the crimes look sexual. And Glover was impotent, so it would be an unlikely motive. The elderly for him were just easy targets, as we've been saying, and it was a way to take out his anger against his mother and mother-in-law.
Yeah.
The jury determined Glover was entirely sane, and they found him guilty, of course, because he is. And they found him guilty on 6 counts of murder, and he was sentenced to 6 life sentences.
Good.
Finally. Because, at this point, he'd gotten, no jail time whatsoever. And he'd, been doing so many crimes before this
6
as well.
weeks over, 40 years of murders.
Yeah, no, so he was...
30, I think.
Yeah, he was found guilty on 6 counts of murder and sentenced to 6 life sentences without the possibility of parole.
Good. And then, how did he die? Did he die in...
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get into that. There were also 9...
So I want to know about his death.
It's not fun. I wish it was more fun, honestly. I wish that he had an inmate had taken care of him or something, but it's not. There were also 9 other murders that he was suspected of, but he never accepted responsibility for them, and there just wasn't enough evidence to charge him with them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I, mentioned all of these.
Yeah.
These women, but there was 9 others that he was suspected of.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. He was sent to the Lithgow, something along those lines, prison, where he was held in a maximum security cell. What an annoying little bitch. But Glover's 3rd suicide attempt was successful. And on the 9th of September 2005, he was found hanging in his cell.
I don't want to say, good. But good. No, because, the thing is, if someone's done something like this, whether it be sexual assault, rape, or all these people who go to prison, if they've gone there for life, they need to die of old age, of suffering in a place like this. Not take the shortcut and get out of it.
No, but that's what makes me angry, is that he killed himself, where it's he should have spent the rest of his life rotting in prison.
Yeah.
And he didn't, because he killed himself.
Yeah, he took the shortcut and just...
that makes me so angry. I honestly hoped that if he was to die in prison, that it would be he got shanked from a...
Yeah, at
from
least
a prison or something, something.
There are a lot of people in jail, and you'll find that... I mean, obviously there's a lot of people in jail, but you'll find that a lot of time if someone has, usually it's when they've sexually assaulted or raped someone, their inmates will be, if they're just they've done murder or robbery, theft, whatever, larcen, they will kill them. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of the other people will kill some, especially when it's against children. Mm-hmm. If anyone's in there for anything against children,
look, there's
they
certain
will be
crimes
killed.
that I think you can be rehabilitated from. This is not one of them.
No. I don't care how much money you pay me. I will never say that this is one that you can be rehabilitated from.
No, of course not.
That's
ridiculous. And also crimes against children. I think that there's certain crimes that you definitely can. Like theft or drug charges. Sure.
Yeah. Driving.
Yeah, driving offences. Sure. But if
Murder?
you are, like, rapes and assaults and stuff along those
Yeah.
lines, like sexual assaults, crimes against children,
Yeah.
crime against the elderly, like, I don't...
Yeah, S-A and R is what I
Mm.
call it, because I don't like the words.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, S-A and R, or any type of violence,
Yeah,
domestic
there's
abuse
just some things
is just
that I
not...
don't think you can be rehabilitated from. And I don't think that, I'm not saying that I think that they need the death penalty or anything like that, because honestly I think that's a easy way out, and I'm honestly against the death penalty, because there's a lot of cases that people were wrongly
Oh,
accused
yeah,
and stuff
there's
like that.
wrongly accused.
And just in general, even if you have done it and you've been sentenced for that and there's proof and all that, I still don't think that the death penalty is right, because I think that you should rot in prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But I do think you should have life without parole.
Oh, if you're 100% guilty...
Yeah, and I don't think that there's
No
any chance
shit.
for rehabilitation. You should never be allowed out.
No.
I don't know why anybody would disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
No, it's...
I don't agree with the death penalty, but I do think that life without parole.
Some people I just want out of this world quicker than you could believe, but, like, also at the same time, you want them to suffer.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I don't like the fact of people offing themselves anyway, because, like, you know, we all know someone who has, like, attempted that. Like, we all know that, and that sucks.
Incredibly
That's
sad
painful.
in that situation,
But if you're a murderer and you've murdered possibly up to 19 people, innocent,
15
15
is what he is suspected of.
suspected,
But he was only
Like-
but he was only convicted of 6.
and they just no, you don't get to off yourself like
Yeah.
that. That's not fair. On those
makes me
poor
very angry.
families. I know.
So
like,
he,
ugh.
I need to look up real quick, because the house that they lived in was sold, and I want to quickly see how much it was sold for. Glover
I
home.
kind of want to see the house as well.
Yeah, I will show you. So, Mossman Home, where the late serial killer John Wayne Glover lived, so this is what it looks like, has sold again. It has been sold, and it was sold for $5.4 million. And that's what he looked like.
Ugh.
The Wyong Street property was home to the, quote, granny killer from 1969 until his 1990 arrest. Yeah. And it is very pretty. It is a lovely home. But it was sold by the Glover family in 1992 at $455,000, and again in 2013 at $2.45 million. Obviously, like inflation and stuff as well.
So like, they're missing out.
Yeah. I also don't know how I would feel about living there.
No.
So that's that case. Thank you for joining me
Thank you for
to talk about
giving me
murdering
nightmares.
grannies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will post the photos of him and probably where he lived as well.
Did the kids grow up as decent? Because they'd be in...
I'm not sure, honestly.
How they were teenagers in the 90s, so they'd be...
I don't think that they're mentioned anywhere, and I also don't think that they want to be mentioned.
I mean, good
like,
for
I don't think that they...
good for them. Like that, like keep their name out of
Yeah, and I'm
But
not going to
also-
mention them because they didn't know anything, and it's not their fault.
Oh hell no! I just hope that they're
So I'm not going to post their photo or anything.
no. I just hope that they're.
I hope that they're thriving.
I hope that they're okay. I hope that they're not
Yeah.
letting what this man did.
Yeah, me too.
I want to say their father, but that's not.
No. I think that who they saw as their father was a very different person,
to what this man
well,
did.
who he truly was, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
but I hope the kids are. I hope the kids are thriving and living their life in a good way.
Yes. Definitely.
Gosh dang, and the wife. I hope the wife went well.
Yeah, I hope that all of them are doing so much better.
Yeah, God.
If you have any case suggestions or your own stories or anything, send them to terroraustraliaspodcast@gmail.com, and I believe it's Terror Australis Podcast on Instagram. Linktree is there with all of our links to everything else as well. we hope you had a good Christmas, New Year. It is now almost the end of January.
It's almost February.
But we haven't posted in a while, so we hope that you guys are doing good and we're going to get back into a regular schedule because we've just had a lot going on.
Yeah.
We look forward to giving you more cases that we will have in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? We might have Kimberly on for another episode soon.
Yay.
Maybe Casey on for another episode. You guys have heard a case with her and Teresa, so I think that we'll just be having like some more guests on and stuff just as a fun little thing to tie in and sort of bring a little bit of light to this, the dark sort of stuff that we talk about.
Heck yeah.
But,
I'd love to come back.
Yeah.
I find it, not fascinating, but to a
I
degree.
think that it's hard not to find it fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
it's been fun. Cheers.
Bye, Terras.